Hello and a very warm welcome along to Snetterton for the latest round of the 2018 Pickup Truck Racing Championship. The championship itself, a fraught battle between Lee Wood and Scott Bourne at the moment, with David O'Regan in third place. We're going to really put the championship perhaps a little bit to one side this weekend because it's a very prestigious race. Race 2 this weekend is the 500th race in the history of the Pickup Truck Racing Championship. We're looking forward to that. Before we see the racing though, let's go down into the paddock and find out some of the latest gossip. Dale, congratulations, your first pole position. How do you feel about that?
Brilliant. I couldn't believe it really when they radioed across and said you're on pole. No, well chuffed for the team for getting us there. It's all down to them. I just drived a bit. It's just down to set up and everything. The boys putting the hard work in to get us there. So, no, well pleased with it. I'm surprised. I don't think it's really quite sunk in yet.
You shouldn't be surprised. You're obviously top of the rookie standings. You're a quality driver in other things that we've seen you in, and it's what you're here to do at the end of the day.
Yeah, that's it. We come here for a challenge. We come here as well. It's kind of, I think, where people probably thought I was a horsepower driver because of the Subaru and that. So, but we come out here to give it a go with these guys and that. No, and it's yeah, we're slowly getting there. So I wasn't expecting to really have a pole this year. I was wanting to work to it, but now we'll take it. We're hoping try and keep it up there in the race.
Reece, that was a pretty solid qualifying session. You had a fifth and a third, probably the best to date.
Yeah, it is the best to date at the moment. We had quite a bit of grief in qualifying the last few times, so yeah, we're really happy with that, and hopefully we can move forward.
We've seen rookies getting further and further up the grid. I'm guessing it's as the season goes on, you're getting more familiar with the truck. Certainly you're still racing on new tracks. Is that the case?
Tracks not so much for me because I've raced in other things before on the circuits, but getting used to the truck and changing the truck to make it better all the time has been our key to getting up the front. So
it's just making the championship look more and more competitive as the season goes on, to be honest.
Yeah, what we're all aiming for, I think, is to have 18 cars battling out for first. So at some stage, I'm sure that'll happen.
Paul, since we caught up with you last time, a success at Rockingham. So congratulations on that race win there. Tell us a bit about that.
We started using Malcolm Blackman to set our cars up, and he's just transformed. We've just gone forward. Yeah, we had a blinding meeting. The next time we go there, we can follow on. He assures me we'll be even faster when we go back there, so I'll keep my fingers crossed. And we're just trying to build now on getting a nice setup for the circuits now. So I think our first quali today wasn't so good, but the second one I think we got up to fourth. So yeah, I'm happy with that. I think we're only going to get better.
Lee, sunny day. We had mixed conditions yesterday, but it's all about today really. Practice and qualifying all in one day. It's dry, and hopefully that should augur well for us here at Snet.
Yeah, it's obviously better to run around in the dry air, isn't it? It's a bit of a challenge when it gets slippery. Some corners are grippy on the outside and others are on the inside, but in the dry it's sort of like a defined line around there, so it'll be fast. It'll be very fast around here today, like it always is.
Does it make a difference having qualifying first thing in the morning? Because normally you do it last thing on a Saturday, but this is a one-day meeting rather unusually for pickups. Does that change the mindset at all?
Well, it doesn't change my way of going around it at all. You know, the other ones who know what they're doing might go at it a different way, but no, we'll just go in the same way as we always do. Try as hard as we can and see where we are.
Come on, you know what you're doing. You've been up on the podium.
Haven't been on the podium here, so we'll try. We've got to get in the mix, ain't you? You know what it's like with the pickups. We've got to be in the mix there, and hopefully some drama happens at the end and we can pinch a few places.
Lee starts 9th position on the grid, which is headed by Michael Smith and David O'Regan. Behind them, Scott Bourne and Reece Jones. Remember, the top 6 in qualifying are reversed. Lee Wood was second fastest. He shares row 3 with the pole position man, as it were, Dale Gent. George Taricki and Paul Tompkins are next from Lee Rogers and Daniel Petters. Pete Stevens on row 6 with Jeff Dixon. Then Dean Tompkins and Chris Land sharing row 7. Grid here at Snetterton completed with Rich Ayling and Mark Cooper. You have to say the winner could come from anywhere in the field, and it's a good field assembled once again as Michael Smith and David O'Regan. Smith in the white 93, David O'Regan in the blue number 8 truck. Getting ready, there is Daniel Petters in 86, Jeff Dixon in 50, and the man from St Austell in Cornwall. Chris Land in the 77, Dean Tompkins to his outside, and then Rich Ayling in the 2 litre Pro 213 truck. We're ready for the start of our first race of the weekend, the 499th pickup truck race about to get underway. The lights go out, they're in very good order, and heading down to Rich's corner, it's the white truck of Michael Smith. Scott Bourne shows in red to the inside line, but it's David O'Regan round the outside. Rhys Jones in the mix as well in the 40 truck. Lee Wood from row 3, started alongside Dale Gent, challenging Scott Bourne, and there's Dale Gent on the outside coming into the mix as well. Rhys Jones going wide, and Michael Smith had the bit of tarmac he wanted, so Jones on the grass, but look how they pile past him. You lose so much momentum going on the grass, and Jones, who started in the reverse part of the grid, the top 6, has now got tons to do. Lee Wood's doing stuff down the inside of Scott Bourne, had a much better run than Scott there, goes on the inside before they get to the apex at Agostini. Paul Tompkins in the black and green 12 goes through as well. So Scott Bourne drops back a little bit. Dale Gent chasing the yellow truck of George Taricki, with Rhys Jones trying to climb back into things in the number 40. Then Lee Rogers in 69 on board with Rhys Jones. Outside line here of Dale Gent, Rhys, ex-oval racer, used to overtaking on the outside line. All of these guys give each other room. That's not to say they won't have a little bit of rubbing throughout the course of the race. As down onto Bentley Straight for the first time they go, with Lee Rogers giving chase. Nice onboard shot here from Lee. Looking on the inside line of Dale Gent. Don't think there was clear air for him to go through, and Gent's going to try and hang on the outside line and go through. Yes, he does, so Gent maintains position, but Rhys Jones ahead of him. Look at George Taricki, rides the curbs there, and on board it looked like nothing happened. How cool is that? George, of course, who won at Rockingham in his debut Rockingham meeting. Incredible achievement to win at Rockingham in your rookie year, let alone your first meeting, but that's what the driver of the yellow 28 did. So 3 rookies together here on camera. The yellow 28 of George Taricki, 40, Rhys Jones, already been on the podium this year at Croft in the 2 litre category, believe it or not, and goes to the outside line of Taricki, looks to make the move side by side over the brow on centre straight, slightly downhill in towards Rich's, but Taricki's got the line, the racing line coming into Rich's, grabs the apex. Rhys Jones stays behind him. Dale Gent kicks up a little bit of dirt there in the face of Lee Rogers. It's David O'Regan breaking away. We just saw him go out of shot at the head of this lot. The hairpin here, the Wilson hairpin, looks really tight for these cars. I've commentated on many championships here over the course of the season. For some reason, these pickups make it look tighter than the other ones. I guess these trucks are, or can be, a little bit of a racing handful. Very spectacular to watch. Remember, powered by 2.3 litre Vauxhall or Ford engine, and we've also got the 2 litre Pro 2 category for newcomers as well. Rhys Jones gets it all sideways, trying hard to fight for position. Dale Gent on the inside line. Jones not losing too much momentum there, but that really showed you how hard they work, these trucks. Gent and Jones busy chasing Taricki at the minute. This is Oggie's corner. Right-hander, short straight once it eventually straightens out, down towards Williams, and then onto the long back straight here at Snetterton. You would say a bit of breathing time perhaps, maybe in some formula it is, but in pickups they've still got to think. Jones looks at the outside line, he'll maybe think about dipping the inside. O'Regan leads, goes out of shot. Lee Wood second, then Scott Bourne, Michael Smith in 4th place. Lee Wood there is the championship leader, he's running in second, extending the championship lead to 83 points after picking up 38 of the 40 points available in qualifying today. And his main championship rival at the moment, Scott Bourne, in behind him, with Michael Smith himself 4th in the championship, running 4th in this race. David O'Regan 3rd in the standings as we come here to Norfolk. He's on 1934 points, 219 down on Scott Bourne. By my maths, all that subject to official confirmation, but we just do the sums in between. To be fair, the championship organisers management team will put the points out after the meeting. They don't tend to declare the points officially over the course of the race meeting, so I'm afraid you have to rely on my sums for that. Top 4 through and okay, and we ride on board with the 4th place man, Michael Smith from Hartlepool, long-serving driver, has done most of the 500 or 499 races that we've had, including this one. On board with Lee Wood, 2nd position, And of course, the way the pickup truck qualifying works is they have one session, but they break the session into two. The first half of it declares the points in the grid for race 1, the second half for race 2. And then as we mentioned when giving you the grid rundown, the top 6 positions are reversed, but the drivers are awarded points for qualifying, and it's the top 10 drivers that get points in qualifying to add to their championship. So it's not complicated, but it makes things interesting right the way throughout the meeting. On board with Lee Wood again, working hard, the former British Touring Car Championship driver, ex-Jack Sears Trophy winner. And down the back straight they go. Scott Bourne trying to close on him, and Wood trying to close in on the race leader, David O'Regan. George Turicki challenging the number 12 truck of Paul Tompkins, who, as we heard, won at Rockingham last time. So 2 Rockingham winners together here on track. And it's Tompkins on the inside line, but Turicki gets a good bit of grunt round the outside line. Is he going to go for the curb again? He does, they all do, or 2 of them do. And Turicki winds up on the grass. Again, collects it up really coolly. Such a cool recovery style from George Turicki. Tompkins coming under pressure from the black 83 of Dale Gent. So Dale putting pressure on Tompkins. Gent, the top rookie driver in this one, challenging Paul Tompkins at the moment. Race settling down nicely here at Snetterton. The first of 2 races for you this weekend. And this battle here, George Turicki up ahead of Paul Tompkins. Dale Gent looks to the inside line. Tompkins just left enough room there. Gent's going to go through. Tompkins getting hung out on the outside line. He'll have to be careful that Rhys Jones wants to come through as well. Tompkins tries to hold on to it, but Dale Gent had enough momentum to go through and will now set about chasing down George Turicki. Tompkins has a look. Oh, a gyration for Rich Ayling, the Pro 2 driver, a man from Gosport. He's only had 2 retirements so far this year, Rich Ayling. Let's hope that he'll keep pedalling and try and get the truck home. Meanwhile, Lee Wood is challenging for the race lead. David O'Regan, the leader, been caught by Lee Wood, and Lee has been caught by Scott Bourne as well. 3 pickups for the lead. If Bourne and Wood engage in battle, it might free up the number 8 truck to get away again. Dan Petters goes past Paul Tompkins. Tompkins has got a problem. Paul Tompkins slowing along the back straight. Daniel Petters has passed him. 3 trucks for the lead. Bourne chasing Wood. Wood now chasing and passing, going through past David O'Regan into the lead. Lee Wood's got the lead. O'Regan fighting back though, got a better run out of Murray's along the centre straight. O'Regan's back in front. He'll show this as a lap lead. Lee Wood, I thought, was going to try and grab the inside line there, comes across the track to grab the apex for the first turn at Rich's and comes down on the inside line. Wood swoops, makes the pass, goes through. Scott Bourne's coming into the picture as well, across the grass, across the dirt, tags the back end of O'Regan and comes to rest against the barrier. Scott Bourne chasing the championship lead, just had to go for the dive, wanted to follow his teammate through, and winds up with a little bit of contact. I think you could say backed out of it, rejoins the track, and coming up there is the 50 of Jeff Dixon. Goodness me, that was close. That was so close. Dixon dives to the inside line. Paul Tompkins is in pit lane. Are we going to get a breather? Tompkins looks like a retirement for him, sadly out of the race as Rich Ayling goes along the pit straight. Meanwhile, Daniel Gent engaging with George Turicki. So this is for 3rd place now, because obviously, having lost Scott Bourne, this is for a podium position between those 2. Gent chasing a first pickup truck podium. Great news is that Paul Tompkins is coming back on track, coasting around to pits. They've sorted out whatever it was as Scott Bourne chases Jeff Dixon. The truck that very nearly collided with him. It was a good reaction from Jeff. Now the thing was, where Scott was off, technically unsighted there because the cars are coming round turn 1. So just thankfully nothing untoward happened there. Scott passes Jeff, makes the pass. The Hale's own man in the Palmer's Garage truck is passed, and Scott Bourne looking to try and make up some. And Lee Wood slowing, passed by the 2nd, 3rd and 4th place trucks now. Lee Wood is slowing the race leader, the championship leader. Now can he keep going? He's losing a lot of pace. Michael Smith challenging him now. Smith goes past as well. Lee Wood is past. Now we had a flapping bonnet on the 86 truck of Daniel Petters. It's been taped up. I did neglect to mention that, but on the onboards there was a flapping bonnet, and Lee Wood pulls up to the side of the track and a retirement for the championship leader. So, goodness me, the scenarios here with Scott Bourne would have been, I would have said, tipped to take the championship lead. We've got now the battle for second place on, and Dale Gent challenging on the outside of George Taricki, coming down the straight. Again, George knows he's got the inside racing line. Oh, a little bit of a clatter there with Gent. Nothing untoward. Now Rhys Jones is getting into the mix, goes on the dirt, collects it all up, does Jones. Inside line into the hairpin. Is there contact there? I think there was on the back end of the 83. They're all rubbing and racing hard here. It's that old motorsport maxim: if you ain't rubbing, you ain't racing. Nothing malicious there at all. These are just the boys getting stuck into their pickup truck racing. It's long been associated with pickup truck racing, that phrase. And this, the three-way rookie battle, not only for top rookie, but for second place in the race. David O'Regan, the race leader. Now, the picture of this race has changed, and indeed the championship, because with Lee Wood going, it's going to be nip and tuck for the championship lead here. I was thinking with Scott Bourne having that moment at turn one that he was really seeing his championship challenge ebb away, because Lee Wood would have been up for top points as George Taricki goes over the grass. There's Lee Wood's truck parked up, and Lee is still in there. He's still in the truck. A good job he wasn't extricating himself from that truck at that moment. Michael Smith going through on the inside of Taricki. Rhys Jones sideways again. Dale Gent in the mix too. Jones being squeezed over. Has he got a wheel on the grass? It looks very close, and safety car deployed. That has got to be for Lee Wood's truck. There is Jeff Dixon coming into what looks like retirement into the garage, and Stuart Bradburn brings the pace car out as Lee Wood is pushed away to safety. That's why the safety car was out, because as we saw, George Taricki going wide between the 43 truck and the barrier as well. Now, safety cars are all well and good because it's closed the field up. David O'Regan, with that lead that he had, probably thought it was Christmas, but now he's had that nicely wrapped gift taken away from him, and he's got Dale Gent behind him in 83, 40 Rhys Jones in third, then Michael Smith and George Taricki, who gets a second bite of the cherry after his wide moment earlier on. This has been real cut and thrust racing, and we are away once again. The blue truck of Mark Cooper, good to see him for his second meeting, just moving wide and allowing a couple of trucks through. Rhys Jones in third place, chasing hard, so David O'Regan under pressure because Dale Gent has gone with him and is challenging for the lead. Looks up the inside line at the hairpin, down towards Palmer's next, the left-hander. David O'Regan, as I say, great for the race fans that that lead has been negated, but not good for David. He's got to do all the work again. If you use all your tyres up in the first part of the race and then get a safety car, that really can compromise things. Three trucks for the lead, and David not overly defensive here, I've got to say, but equally not able to take the full racing line. And Dale Gent having a look up the inside line again. Rhys Jones coming up into the mix. If Rhys can occupy Dale, that could allow the Irishman to get away. Side by side for second now. David O'Regan is starting to stretch the lead as Dale Gent looks in his mirrors, engages in battle again with Rhys Jones, the man from Herne Bay. Here they come, tail out on the 83 truck. So it looks like David O'Regan has weathered the storm here. He's onto the back straight. Dale Gent second. Rhys Jones wants a bit of second place as well, and he's having a look if he can draw level, which he can't do coming down the straight. He might have had a little nibble at second position there, but he's certainly harrying Dale Gent at the moment, who clatters the curbs again and carries on. Michael Smith doing the same immediately behind them. Now that safety car is bringing Scott Bourne into the places as well, so Scott Bourne with Lee Wood not now in this one. Very much damage limitation for Scott Bourne. If he hadn't have had the safety car, I reckon we would have probably seen him in just into the top 10 maybe, but now he's in with a shout of some serious points, and I reckon he's going to take the championship lead here. They're on to the last lap. David O'Regan in front. Lee Wood got the fastest lap. That was back on lap 3 before his retirement. O'Regan the clear leader. Second position looks relatively settled at the moment as well. Paul Tompkins, who is in the mix there, the black and green 12, is in 11th place, actually a lap down after that pit stop. Pete Stevens is in 6th position, so this is a good race by Pete Stevens at the moment. And Lee Rogers has a gyration. That's a very worrying moment. Look how fast the truck's come towards you. That's maybe what Lee Wood was thinking as he was sat in his truck. Michael Smith with Paul Tompkins in front of him. Smith running in 5th place now because Scott Bourne has cleared him. So Scott Bourne up into 4th place from near last after that moment where he challenged for 2nd position. The safety car helped him out no end, and he's up into 4th place. I don't think he's going to be able to make a podium, but it's David O'Regan from Dale Gent, Rhys Jones 3rd, Scott Bourne now 4th, on board with Michael Smith in 5th position. You can see Scott Bourne in red immediately ahead of us. Past Lee Wood's truck they go. Paul Tompkins running in 11th in the number 12 truck. As I say, a lap down after his pit stop. The team did get him back out, which was great work by the team. And 11th position points are going to be very valuable for him at the end of the year as Rhys Jones tries to close in again on Dale Gent. The race leader in blue is David O'Regan. David looking for his 2nd win of the season, having won round 4 of the championship at Croft earlier on in the year. He's very nearly home and dry, and a great battle for 2nd. Are we going to see a maiden podium for Dale Gent? A 2nd podium for Rhys Jones in his 1st podium in the 2.3 engined car, having bought a 2-litre car home on the overall podium before. It is going to be Dale Gent because David O'Regan takes the win, buzzes the pit wall. O'Regan wins. Dale Gent 2nd, 1st podium for him. Rhys Jones 2nd career podium for him in 3rd place. Scott Bourne is going to come across the line in 4th position. Great recovery from Scott. Michael Smith 5th. Pete Stevens in 6th place, up ahead of Daniel Petters, who finishes in 7th place ahead of top 2-litre runner Dean Tompkins. But there is our winner, 2nd win of the year, 200 points in the bag for the Irishman David O'Regan, multi-race winner in his career in pickups. O'Regan from Gent and Jones, Bourne in 4th, Michael Smith 5th from Pete Stevens, then Daniel Petters, Dean Tompkins in 8th from George Taricki and Rich Ayling, Paul Tompkins and Mark Cooper completing the finishes. Lee Wood gets the fastest lap. The winners come down into victory lane. Let's hear what they have to say about that race.
David, we had a little chat before the race and we were saying how things can open up, and you know, with Scott lost a few positions, Lee didn't finish the race, it's thrown the championship wide open. You were in the mix anyway, but you're even further in now.
I wasn't as strong as those boys were, but yeah, I mean, I didn't see this end result, I gotta be honest with you. I didn't see it. Scott and Lee were coming very, very strong, but I guess anything can happen in pickups, you know what I mean, and that's just a given right there, like, so I'm happy, I'm thrilled where I am standing. I mean, I can't say otherwise, but yeah, what else can I say?
Dale, fantastic to see the first podium for you here after bagging that top position in qualifying. So a good start to the weekend.
Yeah, brilliant start. Brilliant start. Just try and take it all in. Still can't really believe it, to be fair. So, but after having the pole, I was happy with that. But to get 2nd, it's brilliant. It's the team. Thanks to the team, with everyone who's been on it and getting us to here. I can't thank them enough. And hopefully we can just keep carrying this momentum on and see how we go in the 2nd one.
Rhys, that was a cracking race to watch, and you certainly gave Dale a hard time in the later stages.
Yeah, we like to get on and have a battle. We're here to race, and that was a good race.
2nd overall podium. You did it with the 2-litre car, now you've done it with a 2.3, so you must be happy with the way things are progressing.
Yeah, they're progressing now after the run of bad luck we've had with engines and bits and pieces, so we're glad to be on here, and we've done stuff for the team now, so it's good.
Please stay with us for our 500th race after the break. Welcome back to Snetterton. You know, one of the things you'll notice about these race meetings is that there's plenty for the family to see and do. For the teams, however, no relaxation. All they do is prepare, tweak and repair, ready for the 2nd race. One of the high-profile casualties in race 1 was championship leader Lee Wood. Let's see what happened to him.
Lee, bit of disappointment to see you out of the race. What happened?
Yeah, we're not sure really. Obviously only just got in here now, so the truck just got slower and slower and slower, and it felt as though the gearbox was giving up, which I'm a bit disappointed in, because that's one of the new sequential gearboxes, so if that's let go I'll be upset, but there you go. It's racing. I don't really know. We made good work getting to the front, obviously on the reverse grid, and got to the front well, and the truck was running strong, and then for it just to slow like it did down the straight was just heartbreaking really, because well, there you go. That's one of the ways it goes, really. So.
Scott, what happened in that one?
That was definitely a lively race, that one. Got a good start. Just settling down behind David O'Regan and Lee. Just pacing the truck, pacing myself really, waiting for an opportunity. I nipped up the inside of David going into turn 1. And I don't know if he's seen me or not, he's slightly come across. It was just one of them things, you know. It's just took the weight off the truck, and unfortunately we turned around and had a little slide down the wall.
Ouch, but you dropped a lot of positions, but then we had the safety car. You were climbing back through anyway. Safety car probably helped. By my maths, you've overturned an 80-point lead into just under 80 points championship lead for yourself now.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you know, it couldn't have come better. You know, the yellow's come out. It gave us enough chance to get on the back of the grid again, and we managed to claw our way back from last up to 4th. So good salvage race. You know, big push for race 2. We took the championship lead now for the first time this year. So just see if we can try and hold that now.
Mark, second meeting in the pickups, and we saw you pit. What happened?
Just had a puncture. Valve got ripped out. Went off under the grass and just caught the valve and ripped the valve out. Straight in, new tyre on and back out again.
You got some laps in. How are you enjoying this circuit? Is it really an antidote, isn't it, to going around in circles? Thruxton is a little bit more oval than this place.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, this is a very nice circuit. Yeah, very nice circuit. Do like this one actually. Thruxton was a bit daunting, but yeah, I can get in there.
Jeff, I'm hearing we've lost you from the meeting. Can you explain why?
Yes, massive misfire for the last 2 laps maybe. Low oil pressure as well, so we've pulled off to save the engine just in case. We didn't want to blow the engine up, obviously, very expensive. So we've pulled off, let it cool for 3/4 of an hour now. We've just started it up and the top end of the engine's rattling, so we're not going to risk going out again. Unfortunate, but it started to go well and I started to get a bit better, so I was quite pleased with it.
Well, it's nice that you're getting some enjoyment out of the racing, so you're just going to park it up and we'll see you next time.
Yes, yeah, that's it, Richard. We're loading up for the day now.
Gentlemen, start your engine.
The grid for the 500th race looks like this. Rhys Jones on pole with Paul Tompkins alongside. David O'Regan and Dale Gent on row 2. Third row, Scott Bourne and Lee Wood. Lee, sadly though, not taking to the track. Broken engine for him. Lee Rogers and Michael Smith on row 4. Fifth row, Dan Petters and George Turicki. Sixth row, Pete Stevens and Dean Tompkins, and they are followed by Mark Cooper, a gap where Jeff Dixon will be. We've already heard he's retired from the meeting. Chris Land and Rich Ayling completing our lineup. Chris Land bringing the 77 Gap Group Hire Solutions machine into line as they come down towards lights out, and we are pickup truck racing for the 500th time. Side by side, down into Rich's. Outside line here for Paul Tompkins, who grabs the lead. Rhys Jones second, David O'Regan third. Outside line for Dale Gent. David O'Regan coming up into second position on the inside line of Rhys Jones, who could get hung out to dry. Remember, he got squeezed onto the grass in race 1, and he's got clear tarmac this time, so holds on to third place. George Turicki being challenged there by Daniel Petters. Fully fastened bonnet this time for Daniel on home tarmac this weekend, of course, comes from Newmarket. But the race leader is Paul Tompkins. I was going to say after the disappointment of race 1, certainly some disappointment for him having that pit stop, but he did bag some championship points. Great onboard shot. Lee Rogers immediately in front of us. To the right is Daniel Petters in the 86. Fair to say Daniel was a star at Brands Hatch in our opening meeting of the year in the wet. Scott Ball working his way through, challenging for third place, looks on the inside line there of Rhys Jones, nips through, very slippery out there. And Dale Gent in avoidance there, comes off the gas, he's going to lose a place to Michael Smith. Good avoidance there by Dale Gent, really good reactions from him, didn't want to clout the number 30 truck, beg your pardon, the number 40 truck. And Smith now piling his way down the inside line of Rhys Jones, but it's David O'Regan up front from Paul Tompkins. Scott Bourne in third. O'Regan looking to make it a double. You'd be very brave to bet against him. It was good pace and a little bit of fortune, you must say, in race number 1, but got the truck home. On board again with George Taricki. I wonder if we're going to see some curb hopping again from George and the guys out there. There is that immaculate 28 truck, the ex-Poulter machine. Now, we're saying that the circuit is a little bit on the greasy side. We're sharing the bill with the British Truck Racing Championship, and occasionally you get a little bit of diesel spill or something some fluid that can make things a little bit tricky, but the guys certainly coping with it well at the moment. O'Regan the leader, Tompkins in second, and then Scott Bourne kicks up a little bit of dirt there in third place. Good watching. Look at Scott's racing line here, right to the outside line. No pressure from behind at the moment for Scott. He'll look in his mirrors and see Michael Smith right behind him. Well, not immediately behind him, a couple of lengths or so down, and that gives Scott the chance to attack. Scott's not really a driver that tends to drive with his mirrors anyway. He's very much focused on moving forward. The race leader's coming downhill out of Palmer into Agostini. O'Regan still the leader. Paul Tompkins in second place. If you can hold a tight line here, you can grab the inside for the next corner, which is the left-hander into Hamilton. Michael Smith running in fourth position. He's challenged by Rhys Jones in fifth, Dale Gent in sixth place, and Dale very calm and modest, I've got to say, after that maiden podium. All the drivers enjoying their racing as Gent looks to try and deal here with Jones, sees half a gap, looks up on the inside line, little tap on the back end of Rhys Jones, and now another rookie in the mix as well. George Taricki coming up to play as well, so which way is he going to go? Looks to the inside line, makes it a triple here. Side by side for the three rookies. Bourne meanwhile challenging for second place. Tompkins relegated here. Scott Bourne's got the run. Down the straight, Bourne into second place. Tompkins down to third. It's bringing Michael Smith into the mix as well. Smithy in fourth place, challenging hard. Then Dale Gent in fifth position. Great racing. The little marker, floppy markers, you might have seen the fluorescent coloured bit of plastic going for a Burton there. That's the marker. If they continually go over those or knock those out of the way, that tells the race officials there might be a little bit of track limits going on, so we might see. We haven't had any penalties for track limits so far this meeting, and I hope we don't. It tends to be a little bit of a bugbear of MSV circuits, and certainly no black and white flags at the moment from the starting gantry there, as Michael Smith now looks for third place. Paul Tompkins goes wide. Smith down the inside line. Is he going to be able to go through? They're giving each other racing room. Smith nudges the dirt on the inside line. George Taricki on the outside line here of Dale Gent, looking to make a place on the outside line. This is brave stuff from George. Ex-oval racer, knows how to take the wide line. And also Dale Gent respecting him, but getting across, holds on to position. Again, cool driving style, very smooth from George Taricki. Through Palmer Corner, downhill in towards Agostini again. The battle for the lead between O'Regan and Bourne. Michael Smith coming through, still challenging for third place. Should be place gain now. Dale Gent read that well too. He's going to follow through as Scott Bourne challenges for the lead. Side by side with the number 8. And he's got the line into the next corner. Scott Bourne grabs the race lead from David O'Regan. So it's Bourne the leader, on board again with George Taricki. Job to know where to look. We just look ahead, you can see the red truck in the distance of Scott Bourne, now the leader. But the fighting going on right behind. Onto the Bentley straight we go again. Here comes the number 12. Are we going to be 4 wide this time? Look at that, they're lining up. 4 wide down the Bentley straight. Paul Tompkins in the mix on the outside. I don't think can make any progress there. Rhys Jones in front of him. Puff of smoke from the 12 truck. Over the curbs goes Taricki. Keeps it on the tarmac. In front of Dale. Bang! Engine's gone. There was a puff of smoke going into Nelson on that lap, and that motor has gone. Paul Tompkins in a cloud of smoke. Sadly, a pit stop in race 1. He's going to try and nurse the truck home. What a dismal meeting for Paul Tompkins, the winner last time out at Rockingham. So George Taricki up ahead of Dale Gent, then Rhys Jones in 40. These 3 rookies have been virtually tied together for the 2 races at this meeting. We've had some superb racing from them, and remember, all newcomers in the championship. Chris Land closing in on Paul Tompkins, who does come into pit lane. That is going to be a retirement without a doubt. for Paul Tompkins, our first retiree of the 500th pickup truck race here in the UK. So Turicki in 4th place. Michael Smith at the moment the last podium spot. He is 3rd in the 93. There is Lee Rogers from Daniel Petters and Pete Stevens in the number 4. Pete had a good 6th position finish in race number 1, so good points for the former champion who comes from Coventry. Has had 2 retirements this year. Race 2 at Brands, race 1 at Thruxton. Wasn't able to get out for race 2 at Thruxton as Dan Petters chases Lee Rogers. So Newmarket man chasing the racer from Exeter in Devon. Somebody's kicked up a little bit of dirt there by the look of it. It wasn't either of these two. So Rogers being challenged by the rookie, and the Orwell truck and van racer will probably have a look at the inside. He's coming off line, looking down the inside line, but Rogers has got his nose in front. There's contact between the two. Round goes Rogers. Petters is okay, or is he? Holds on to it. He's off on the grass. Rogers rejoins. Got the oil flag out there as well. Petters, I thought, was going to rejoin quicker than he did. He has done a damage limitation exercise, floors it, gets it all going. Won't be happy with that, but he's got some work to do now to try and claw his way back through the field. George Turicki comes out of the corner, a bit of opposite lock, onto the grass as well. We're seeing a few drivers doing some grass cutting in this one. I tell you what, the grass on these MSV tracks looks pristine, but when you get a race truck on it, they bounce everywhere. So George knows that he's had a little excursion there, gets it back on track. He was battling for 4th place. In fact, it's a 3-truck battle for 3rd now. Michael Smith leading the group, Dale Gent behind. Gent's going to look on the inside line, makes the pass, past Michael Smith. Left-hander here is Brundle. The next right-hander is Nelson Corner, this being, of course, Nelson's County, where Snetterton is. Rhys Jones couldn't quite get through. So Gent, not content with a podium in race number 1. Looks like he's going to get another one here at the moment, but this could finish anyway, couldn't it? Bearing in mind what happened in race number 1. So Scott Bourne, the leader. David O'Regan still in 2nd and not being lost at the moment by the new championship leader. David O'Regan will go, assuming he finishes this race, will go 2nd in the championship. There go the leaders through. Leewood will be down to 3rd in the standings. Dale Gent is top rookie. Daniel Petters 2nd in the rookie championship this year. We've got a host of rookies this year. Through goes George Turicki, then Pete Stevens. Lee Rogers followed by Dean Tompkins. Dean Tompkins, the Pro 2 driver, has had 10 Pro 2 wins this year. And looking for win number 11 in the Pro 2 category. There is Daniel Petters, 2nd in the Rookie Championship, has had 3 rookie class wins. You don't get a trophy in the race for being the rookie winner, but we like to keep count of these things. Back with the race leaders though. Scott Bourne, 6 wins, 3 seconds, 2 third places. David O'Regan with 2 wins, 1 second and 3 thirds over the course of the season. And you can see David O'Regan not that far away. Scott Bourne did get the lead, but isn't getting away. Great onboard shot from the Gold Arts Panaroof truck prepared by Dave Longhurst Racing for these meetings. Maybe Scott breaking the toe a little bit now, beginning to get away. Scott with the fastest lap thus far in our 500th race. And I can tell you that the pickup truck racing management team, as David O'Regan gets very close to the race leader, so this is far from finish for O'Regan, looking very quick through the complex. Bourne looks a little bit quicker coming out of the infield complex and onto the back straight, but David O'Regan closing up and putting a challenge on, and Bourne slightly quicker through there, through Corham and into Murray's, and continues to lead the race here. I was about to tell you that the pickup truck racing management team have commissioned a special trophy for this 500th race. The drivers don't know. I was talking about black and white flags earlier on. There's one. Track limits warning. Still no penalties being shown, but they're just reminding the drivers about track limits. We'll let you know if any penalties do manifest themselves on the timing screen. But it's Scott Bourne, race leader, fastest lap for the new championship leader. George Turicki goes across the line. Good battle going on here with Pete Stevens, Lee Rogers and Dean Tompkins. There is George Turicki. George has had 4 rookie class wins this year. Dale Gents had 6, Rhys Jones and Daniel Peters 3 each. We mentioned that earlier on. And Rhys Jones also had 4 Pro 2 wins when he had the 2-litre engine aboard the truck. Pete Stevens up ahead of Lee Rogers, both of whom were national hot rod drivers back in the day. Michael Smith dicing hard here with Rhys Jones, looks on the inside line. Jones giving room, so a good clean fair race between the two of them. So Michael Smith has raced in all of the seasons since the Pickup Truck Racing Championship started. Hasn't done every single one of the 500 races, but has started more than any other driver. And testament to the fact that this is a championship that drivers love to stay with. And still a top man in the sport and enjoying racing with these newcomers that are in the championship. And Rhys Jones, of course, with other newcomers this year. Roger Dormer, the man from Hemel, not racing with us this weekend, sorting out a GM engine to go in his truck. He'll be back. We've got Rich Ayling, newcomer this year, George Turicki, Mark Cooper in the mix as well, as Michael Smith still gives chase. Dan Peters, Dale Gent. We've seen Tyler Wilkin, new driver for this year as well. So many new drivers contesting the rookie championship this year. Dale Gent continues to lead that at the minute and is looking, as you said, for a second podium this year as Michael Smith challenges Rhys Jones again in the 40 truck. Smith's retirements this year have both been at the Rockingham meeting, so points-wise, good healthy point score from him. I think he'll remain in 4th position in the standings, even with Lee Wood's retirement from race 1 and non-start in this one. But we've still got 2 more circuit meetings to go this year. We've got Rockingham Oval next time out, separate championship for the Rockingham Oval, and then the 2 remaining circuit meetings. Pembrey in October and the Brands Hatch finale always the first weekend in November. November is cold, but if you want to get warmed up, come and watch your pickup truck racing there. It is always a superb day's action, wrapped up with a firework display at the end of the day, as only the MSV team can do. It's a superb day out. So Smith still challenging Jones. This is for 4th place. Jones leading Smith at the moment, and Michael in the A1 Performance Products truck still trying everything that he can to close down on the 4th place driver. Quick reminder, Scott Bourne leading from David O'Regan and Dale Gent. These 2 battling for 4th. Then it's George Turicki and Dean Tompkins getting in here to the back end of Pete Stevens. So challenging the former champion at the minute, and Dean has a look up the inside, bang onto the end of Pete Stevens. Pete will be disappointed with that for sure, and Dean will be disappointed as well. It frees up Lee Rogers, who'd got back ahead of Pete Stevens, having had a little bit of contact earlier on himself with Daniel Peters. Now with Dean Tompkins' recover, I reckon we're going to see a first Pro 2 class win here for Rich Ayling in the 13 truck. That's going to be great news for Rich Ayling. And here he is, Rich Ayling in the green machine. Scott Bourne nips through on the inside line of the Pro 2 class leader. David O'Regan in 2nd. He goes through on the inside line as well. And of course, A1 Performance on the back. He is the teammate of Michael Smith. David running the Ford motor, Michael Smith running a GM, and Scott Bourne, also GM, the man from Worthing in Sussex, continues on his way, looking for a 7th win of the year. And he could pretty much coast from now, but coasting in racing is when you tend to take your eye off the ball, but I'm sure Scott won't do that. And he's going to be the first to admit that he was fortunate in race number 1 to get the truck back on circuit and have that safety car which enabled him to come back through the field for 4th place. Top point scorer on the day is going to be David O'Regan at the moment with 1st and 2nd, but Scott comes out of Williams onto the Bentley straight for the last time. We'll no doubt have a look in the mirrors to see where David O'Regan is, and he's not in a position to challenge. A bit further back, Lee Rogers 7th, Daniel Peters is in 8th place, so Daniel closing up on Lee once again. So again, the Exeter man will see the blue and yellow in his mirrors, and these trucks getting a good workout as the leaders come through Corham for the last time. Into Murray's just the 90-degree bend and then the run down towards the checkered flag to negotiate. David O'Regan second, but Scott Bourne, we ride on board with him on his way to the checkered flag to win the 500th pickup truck race. Look what it means to him. He is delighted, takes the win. David O'Regan second. Dale Gent's going to be on the podium. Here comes Dale, second podium here at Snetterton for him, but Scott Bourne wins the 500th race. David O'Regan second. There is Dale Gent completing the podium. Rhys Jones takes 4th place, then Michael Smith, George Taricki in 6th, Lee Rogers 7th from Dan Petters, then Pete Stevens and Mark Cooper in 10th place. Rich Ayling winning Pro 2 ahead of Dean Tompkins. Fastest lap of the race going to new championship leader Scott Bourne, the defending champion, comes down into victory lane and he's going to be delighted with that, as too is David O'Regan with his point scoring. Win for him, his dad Bill there to congratulate him. John O'Regan helping out David, who takes 2nd place, Dale Gent in 3rd, and we'll catch up with them on the podium.
Scott, what a turnaround from race 1. I mean, you turned it around mid-race 1 anyway with the superb fight back, but to come back and win the 500th pickup truck race.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's unbelievable. It's a special award, you know. It's lovely to have won that 500th race, you know. It's history in the making, you know. It's lovely. Blinding race, just managed to get my head down and get going, and you know, all the DLRD team, my dad, Gold Arts, Panna Roof, all my sponsors, it's a big thing for them, so it's a big achievement. Well chuffed.
David O'Regan, what a weekend, a race win and a 2nd place, good points.
Yeah, amazing. I mean, what happened to Lee, I'm sorry to Lee and everything for what happened the first race, but that's just racing. I mean, as I say, it's all about luck in this, and luckily I was in 2nd in that race, and I think I have a bit of a diff problem near the end of that, so I was a bit worried about that through that race as well, so I'll have a look at that afterwards.
How did that manifest itself and how did you feel it in the car?
Well, it was about lap 3, I think it was 3 or 4, and it just started to vibrate massively, and I didn't know was I going to last. I didn't know what was going to happen, but it doesn't seem to be any oil leaking out of it anyway, so maybe it ran out of oil on the diff maybe or something, I don't know yet, but I didn't know what was going to happen near the end of that, but with about 2 or 3 to go, I just went, got to throw the kitchen sink at this anyway to try and catch Scott, but yeah, he was, in fairness, untouchable in that race, so well done to him.
Dale, what a weekend, you know, two podiums, fantastic.
Yeah, the team again. If it weren't for them, we wouldn't be here now. And they've worked so hard getting the car ready and sorting it out for us and that. And I'm well chuffed with it. It still ain't quite sunk in yet, but it's been a brilliant day.
Well, I hope it does sink in soon for you because, you know, pole position in the first qualifying session and then 2 podiums. It's the only thing that can get better is when you take the win, and it is going to be a win, I'm sure.
I like to think that's not far away, but them other boys are quick. So we've got to try and stop them first. But Scott, Lee and O'Regan, they're fast.
Dale Gent leads the rookie championship, 6 overall. Scott Bourne the championship leader now from David O'Regan. Lee Wood in 3rd, then Michael Smith and Paul Tompkins in 5th ahead of Dale.
Well, that concludes our pickup truck racing action from here at Snetterton. A great day's racing. Some celebrations, obviously Dale Gent getting 2 podia, race win and a 2nd position for David O'Regan. Race 2 win, the 500th pickup truck championship win going to Scott Bourne, who also reclaimed the championship lead.
Thanks for watching today. We'll see you next time from Pembrey in South Wales.